So the Los Angeles Lakers have not looked good. Over their last 3 games, they are 0-3 against the Orlando Magic, the Denver Nuggets, and the Phoenix Suns. And with the very minimal offseason additions that the Los Angeles Lakers made, me being a biased Lakers fan, I kind of went into this season being a lot more optimistic than maybe I really should have, especially since this is the same team coming in and they're starting to have the same weaknesses that they had last season. And me just being a biased Lakers fan really kind of masked that, and I just really ignored it over the offseason. Now, I didn't come into the season thinking that the Lakers were going to be a championship contender, but I kind of think that if you keep just ignoring these things that you have and maybe we'll throw a new scheme at it, or maybe we'll bring in a new coach, I think we just need better personnel to really fix these issues that the Lakers have. And me just coming into the season thinking some of that would magically go away because we have a new rookie or a new head coach, I think that's where I attacked the problem pretty recklessly. And over the past 3 games, the Los Angeles Lakers have been the worst defense in the league, even though I think they have the best defender in the NBA. And over the last 3 games, the Los Angeles Lakers have had the worst net rating in the NBA at minus 18.3 and the worst defensive rating in the NBA at 123.9. And there are just a few talking points that I kind of want to bring up for this Lakers team, which are some deficiencies I kind of knew we had, but I'm also going to talk about maybe some trade deadline acquisitions that we can make to get this team better, and maybe my final thoughts going into the rest of the season. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the effort defensively with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, we know over a playoff series that Anthony Davis can be the best defender in the world. But over the regular season, I just feel like he does not bring that same intensity. In the pick and roll, he is kind of sloppy. He's sloppy in rotations. He's also very lazy when it comes to getting back in transition. And I think the same could be said about LeBron James. Now, one thing that I am going to give both of these players, Anthony Davis has been a little hobbled over the past few seasons, and LeBron James is 40 years old. So therefore, I'm not going to overreact at that. But the fact that we know these players can be lazy over an 82-game stretch regular season, we kind of have a lot of lackluster defenders around this pairing to where their lazy moments show a lot more because the defensive inefficiencies that we have, whether it's guys like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, Dalton Connect, they show a lot more because we don't have the hustlers defensively. We don't have the gritty guys defensively to where they can make up for some of the inefficiencies that these guys have over a regular season sample size. And I think we saw that against the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, as we all know, have beaten us out of, I think, 14 out of the last 15 times we've played them. And when I watch this team, this is a team that thrives off of their confidence against Denver. Once some shots aren't falling, once the Denver Nuggets really get into their offense and really get into a groove where they go 5 or 6 possessions straight with a bucket, it looks like the Los Angeles Lakers are completely out of the game. And we saw that in a 50-17 run in the second half against the Denver Nuggets. And I look at this team and I say, why does this Lakers team always lose against this team? This is not something that is regular. The Denver Nuggets aren't beating every single team in the NBA 14 out of 15 times. And that's just because the lack of effort that we have defensively and sometimes offensively. And when we look at our 2 best players, the effort just isn't there. Now, a lot of people can say we have gotten a 30-plus point per game scorer in Anthony Davis this season to where his defense is probably going to take a step back. But Anthony Davis has always been a high volume offensive player. He's always been a 25 point per game type of player. So why would the defense take a step back now? And especially with the actions that JJ Redick runs at the offense, it's not like Anthony Davis is just going to have to go out and really dribble, create a shot every single possession down the floor. He's making offense pretty easy for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So using that type of excuse for Anthony Davis to not be the contender or to be the competitor that he is on the defensive side, I think is kind of flawed. But the second point I want to talk about is the rebounding. Now, we know last season the Lakers were not the best rebounding team in the NBA. They were at the bottom of the league in offensive rebound percentage. They were at the bottom of the league in total rebounds per game. And one thing that I can say is we know JJ Redick wants to hit these problems head on. He wants to shoot more threes. He wants to be a better rebounding team. He wants to be better in the defensive transition, but we just do not have the personnel to do that. This season, the Los Angeles Lakers are 28th in rebounding, 27th in offensive rebounding, and 26th in rebound percentage. Now, we all know the Boston Celtics have implemented a new style of basketball, which is a numbers game, where if you can create more possessions for your team, you have a better chance to win. If you can hit more threes than your opponent, you have a better chance to win. If you can be more efficient when you have the ball and create better opportunities for your team, you have a better chance to win. And rebounding is a very big part of that. So a team that is consistently at the bottom of the league in rebounding cannot be a team that is expected to go very far in the playoffs. One of the next biggest problems I want to talk about with the Los Angeles Lakers is their transition defense. Now, over this season, the Los Angeles Lakers are third highest in scoring frequency given up in transition at 53.3. They have the second highest points per possession in transition given up at 1.22. They have the second most points given up per game in transition at 27.4. And the worst thing about this is 6 of the top 10 teams in transition points per game are all legitimate playoff teams in the West, with those teams being the Memphis Grizzlies, the Golden State Warriors, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, do not get me wrong, the Lakers are still a phenomenal transition offensive team, but when we watch some of these teams play the Los Angeles Lakers, it's kind of a known fact that this team is not the greatest in transition. So we will see a lot of teams, especially in a playoff series, try to grab and go as quick as they possibly can in transition because the best defender in Anthony Davis is not getting back. There are guys in Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect who are just not athletic enough to be able to make stops in transition as frequently as you would want them to, and that leads to a lot of points. And in my opinion, when you have some of the better perimeter defenders on your team not being offensive counterparts at all, not being offensive, not bringing any values offensively at all, we've seen Cam Reddish be a corner shooter at times. I don't think Jared Vanderbilt has ever been a plus offensively. That creates problems as well. In a playoff series, Jared Vanderbilt is almost not valuable at all offensively. We've seen teams sag off of him in playoff series before, and I think the same can be said about Cam Reddish. And I like Gabe Vincent at times. I think he can be a very pesky defender. I don't think he's going to be blowing you away with his perimeter defense, but once again, his offensive game brings almost no value to this Lakers team to where he's almost a negative on the offensive floor. So we could really question how much minutes he's going to get in a playoff series. So therefore, you're leaving guys like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Dalton Connect to get a really big amount of minutes for this team, and they just are not positives defensively. Yeah, Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves can really show effort in games, game to game, but I don't think they're plus defenders. Also, another big key factor on our defense is our perimeter defense, as I alluded to in the last part of the video. The Lakers in isolation are 4th highest in points per possession given up in isolation at 1.03 and 2nd highest in scoring frequency in isolation. And teams shoot plus 2.3% better in field goal percentage against the Lakers, which is the highest in the league. So we've seen this Lakers team over the years make drastic trades to bring in kind of like a new team. They're kind of flipping the team over and over. And this is the first year where we've really seen a team be like, you know what? Let's sit on our chips. Let's go into the season, see what we have, and make adjustments. So the first thing I want to talk about are who are some players that can come into this Lakers team and really help what they have. So I don't necessarily think the Los Angeles Lakers have a lot of key trade pieces to move off of. They have that D'Angelo Russell contract, and the play of D'Angelo Russell recently off the bench has been solid. I'm not going to say that he has been great or he's been lighting the world on fire or he's been D'Angelo Russell of last season, but I still think there can be some value to D'Angelo Russell. I think they completely mismanaged Jalen Hood-Schifino. I don't think he almost has any value in the trade market. And I just don't think Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves are going to be put on the trade block, even though they've been pretty bad defensively. So when I look across the league, I'm looking at a perimeter defender who is low usage, somebody that you can kind of get more bang for your buck. And I think that's Matisse Thybulle. I think he plays the perimeter very well. I think he plays passing lanes very well. I think he has really good hands to where he can disrupt a ball player's fluidity and his motion, just being able to disrupt his ball handling and his dribble, leading to a tougher shot clock, leading to shots getting up later in the shot clock, which could be very effective in playoff series. And 2 guys who I also think that have been rumored to the Lakers are Robert Williams and Jonas Valanciunas to help out with the rebounding. In Robert Williams' case, he can be a guy that can anchor a defense off the bench, maybe play about 20 minutes a game. And also 2 guys who are going to be really hot topics over the trade deadline, Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson. Now, do I think it is a very big fact? Do I think there is a really big chance that the Los Angeles Lakers bring back all of these guys? No. Do I think there is a chance that the Lakers land one of these guys? Maybe. Do I think there's a bigger chance that the Lakers don't make a single move at the trade deadline and we're just okay with being a play-in team for the rest of the season? That I agree with. I just think the Lakers have put themselves in an extremely deep hole with the perimeter defense they have, not really being able to put the proper team around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And this team has had its questions for the past few years now, but me being a biased Lakers fan, I've kind of looked over it and said, you know what? I think Anthony Davis is the best defender in the league, even though he does not show that over an 82-game sample size. I think LeBron James is still playing at a top 10 level, so we can lean on this duo throughout the regular season and try to get a 5th seed in the Western Conference, try and get a 6th seed in the Western Conference so we can avoid the play-in at all cost. But with how talented the Western Conference is this season, I just don't know if that is going to be the best scenario to work out. I think the Suns are still a really good team. I think the Grizzlies are the better team. I still think the Nuggets have always been the better team. The Oklahoma City Thunder is obviously a given. I think the Golden State Warriors look a lot better than they did last year. And we can't forget about teams like the Houston Rockets, who have been one of the better defenses in the league. And we can't forget about the Sacramento Kings either, who have played us really well over the past few seasons. So my final thoughts are, it's going to be a very rough, very ugly couple of years for the Los Angeles Lakers. As long as we have LeBron, as long as we have AD, we're still going to be relevant, but trying to put this team in championship conversations or even Western Conference Finals conversations again is kind of a stretch. And I think it's unrealistic if you would have that expectation for this team to make it out of a second round or go to a Western Conference Finals like they did back in 2023. Because if we look at that Western Conference Finals run, we played some very, very favorable matchups. We played a Memphis Grizzlies team who weren't the best three-point shooting team and had some significant injuries to their big men like Brandon Clark and Steven Adams. And we look at a Golden State Warriors team who almost did not get really good performances from Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and were just really small to start out with. And Kevon Looney gave us issues. So as my final thoughts, I think we are far from the Western Conference team that everybody thought we were a few years ago. And there are some pretty big holes in this team, especially on the defensive side. Now, the offense has been solid. We have been one of the better transition teams. I think Dalton Connect has been playing very good for us. He's definitely been a bright spot to this Lakers team. But once again, our losses are really bad losses. Our losses are really bad losses at this point. So you guys let me know what you guys think about the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you guys think they can go back to the Western Conference Finals? Do you guys think they're going to be a solid playoff team, maybe get out the first round, maybe make it into the second round and make it competitive? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you guys want to find me on TikTok, my TikTok handle is @TheBuzzerSports. If you want to find me on Twitter, ATBSports1. If you want to find me on Instagram, @TheBuzzerSports. And for business inquiries, hit me up at TheBuzzerSportsENT@gmail.com. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.